Hello, everybody, and welcome back. I'm back today with some big updates on the PPP program, Paycheck Protection Program. Many of you are concerned that the fund will run out before the deadline, that extended deadline that was extended to May 31st. So many are commenting on my channel that they believe the funds are going to run out. So share this video with all of your friends that you know that are in the Paycheck Protection Program, because we're going to get you all caught up on all of the details. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. I'm Edward Bilder. To all my loyal subscribers out there, welcome back for another video. And if you're joining us for the first time today, welcome. Consider becoming a subscriber. I'm getting so many new viewers on this channel. I appreciate all you joining us for the first time. I typically post finance videos about filling your pockets. So right now, you could check out my crash course in the description on B&Bs and short-term rentals. I'm talking about taking $50 out of your pocket and earning an extra $5,000 to $10,000 each and every month through some very simple steps, easy to follow. Crash course has you all set up once you're finished taking the course. I also have building wealth strategy courses also found in the description, crash courses around building wealth strategies. So a big congratulations. I like to say this to everybody out there who's being approved for draw number 1 and draw number 2 of their Paycheck Protection Program. Remember, this is on the gross income now as a new option as of March 3rd. And so many of you who previously applied with the net income, I have some few announcements and details around what we can expect if this possible fund runs out. So stay with me. Funds are moving much faster now that we're seeing gross income as the calculation versus net, because that number is much larger. It is so much larger that it could be possibly another $10,000 when it was previously $1,000. So it's a big difference in numbers. There are a few things to point out, because on December 27th of 2020, the Paycheck Protection Program received an additional $264 billion that was sent over from the Relief Act signed by President Donald Trump at the time. And a recent report from the SBA demonstrated that approximately $223.5 billion have already been spent as of 2021. So if you're doing the math, that's approximately $40 billion that's left in the 2021 fund. Spent, it's gone, right? And since the program started in 2020, $745.8 billion of the fund has been allocated, has been used up, issued to all of the borrowers out there. And so is there more money left out there from 2020? That is a question that I would like to unturn and uncover. Because as the program ended in 2020, I recall there being $130 billion left over in the fund. And I'd like to know if it's sitting in the new fund. So let's get into some more details around some good and some bad and figure out what's actually going on. So as I mentioned, this could either be a good thing or a bad thing. And I'm going to talk about what those good things and bad things are in just a moment. But if you have not already applied for the Paycheck Protection Program and you're like a gig worker, Uber driver, Lyft driver, sole proprietor, small business owner, I don't really know what you're waiting for. Okay, don't hesitate any longer. Get out there and apply while you know the deadline is still open and funding is still available, because yeah, these funds can be limited, and who knows what could really happen. We're going to talk about some scenarios here, what could actually happen. But remember, these loans, that once they're spent on eligible expenses, they could be forgiven and it becomes free money. Imagine that. $20,000, you could earn up to $20,000 free money, and if you spent it on what you're supposed to spend it on, instead of going and buying a Lambo or some mega mansion like some of these frauders did, just spend it on what you're supposed to spend it on. It's free money. You don't have to worry about paying it back. It's pretty amazing the way the program works. So I'm going to get into some things that are what's really good and some things that are what's really bad. But before I do, remember there's two forms. Gig workers, there's two forms. There's a net form and there's a gross form. Don't make the mistake. Go with the gross form. Always go with the gross. It's worth about $10,000 extra instead of that net form that's worth next to nothing. All right, let's get into the what's really good. If they happen to run out of funds before the deadline, it's highly likely that they will most likely replenish it. Why do I say they'll replenish it? Well, in 2020, the fund ran out. It was like ran out within a few weeks. It was a very popular program. Funds were just dried up fast. And within 3 days of time, they had the legislation available to get more funding to the program, and they really, really beefed it up. I mean, they sent a ton of money over to it. All right. So this is a program that is often carried with a ton of bipartisan support, and the voting is practically unanimous every single time as watching something pass. There's hardly ever any opposition. It's almost like unanimous every time. There is already discussions that if the fund would run out, they're talking about possibly sending over another $150 to $180 billion to allocate to the program to keep it going, keep it extended for as long as they possibly can, given the fact if it dries up, they know that they extended it to May 31st, and they're going to honor that by giving some more funding. They know they extended it now to gross applicants. They're going to honor that by extending some more funds over to that. So that's pretty great. Now, what else could be really good in this overall program if it runs out and they have to go back to the voting and draw up some new legislation? There's a lot of focus around hashtag retro PPP. Legislators are highly focused and highly paying attention to the fairness factor here due to all of your voices on this channel, on other channels talking about hashtag retro PPP, and really fighting and pushing for the fact that if you applied before March 3rd, you applied with your net income, and after March 3rd, you were eligible to apply with your gross income, and there is nothing that allows you at the SBA to go back and adjust into your net income into your gross income and get the rest of that money that's rightfully yours. When everybody else out there who waited and took their time and kicked the dirt a bit, it now gets to apply with gross, and they're getting a lot more money than everybody who applied with net. So it's a total major unbalance, and it's an unbalance that's worth about $10,000 on average in every single application process. So another thing that could be a potential plus that's out there is possibly a round 3 of PPP. Yeah, that's right, a round 3 of PPP. Think about this here just for a moment. Round number 1 and round number 2, if you got draw 1 and draw 2, that's equivalent to 5 months of time. If you go right now and you look at the EIDL loan program, they're going from 6 months of time to 24 months of time. I'm seeing this as a benefit because if they go back to the table and they start to negotiate new terms for the Paycheck Protection Program, I'd like to see this kick out for 12 months to even 24 months of eligible loans for Paycheck Protection Program for time that was a void. I talked to a lot of people that are in Hawaii, so shout out to everybody in Hawaii, and they all say that their tourism just dropped off so rough. It was tough for a lot of them. That 5 months of working capital was just not enough. They need at least 12 months of working capital because we just, I don't want to say we celebrated, but the milestone for the pandemic was a year. It happened a year ago. So where's the rest of those 7 months of Paycheck Protection Program that could be eligible to everybody out there? So I think it could be a good thing. Let's shift over to some things that may not be as good. So now's the time in the video. If you like all this research I do here on the channel, I really put a lot of effort into all of my videos. So smash the old like button if you'd like to say thank you. I'm going to talk about some things that are bad, but before I get into the bad, I want to give you some free stocks. Head up to the description. You can get yourself 2 free stocks by signing up with Webull. That's WEBULL. Use the link in the description to get the free stocks. You can get stocks that are valued up to about $1,850. And I think Webull is pretty awesome because each and every month, I myself gain $2,000 worth of free stocks every month. And all I do is I click 2 buttons and I recommend Webull to my friends on Facebook. They sign up. I get free stocks. I could keep the stocks or I could cash and trade those stocks in and get whatever I want with my $2,000. I could even take my $2,000 and go invest in real estate if I wanted to. If that's what I chose to do, it's my $2,000. So think about that. $2,000 extra each and every month. So before we get into all that bad stuff, go check out some good stuff if you want to get yourself some free stocks. All right, so what's not so good, and it may not necessarily be so bad, but let's talk about some things that may not be as good. Congress is currently on recess. They're going to be on recess for quite some time. They take like a 3-week break right around now, right after Easter. And so there's really not much deliberating happening. All right, so I'm concerned there's going to be a void of time, a gap of time that we want to miss here, okay? Now, adding new rules will take new deliberation. It's not going to be as cut and dry as strike out one date and insert a new date, or strike out one value of a fund and insert a new value. Those bills are really short, often skinny, like this much text. That's how much text gets done to just strike out a date, replace it with a new date, and add new funds or take new funds away. When we get into talking about retroactive PPP and we get into talking about new rules around the program for all those net applicants wanting to go back and reapply, that's a lot more text, right? And it takes a lot more deliberation. The Schedule F filers, you can almost see how much text is in there, and it does take more deliberating. It's not just a yes or no answer. And so that could slow us down a little bit. I'm just going to say slow us down a little bit. I don't know that it's a total kill-all, but it could slow us down. And another thing I want to point out, Ben Cardin announced back in early March when he was really pushing to have the program extended, he made some public announcement there was like $500 billion still sitting in the fund. That's a lot more money than $40 billion. That's even a lot more money than saying there was $130 billion left over from last year. I remember questioning this on the channel here saying, really? There's $500 billion sitting there? I didn't think it made a lot of sense because that carryover just didn't add up. So is there still money sitting in there? I think if there's money left in the program and we actually make it to May 31st, I think we're going to see a gap in time. This is what my perspective looks like, because if we reach May 31st and there's still a ton of money sitting in there, a few $100 billion, the program will definitely pause because it'll still go until June the 30th. So no new applications will be allowed to enter the SBA. And they're just going to do things behind the scenes to keep it churning and keep the money flowing outbound. So if you apply by May 31st, you're in good shape. You could still receive your funds all the way up until June 30th. And so if there's still funds left there, there's going to be a delay in time before they go and extend the program again or even send more money over to it. So I think that that's a more likely scenario than it completely running out of funds. While I would love to see it run out of funds and really love to see some new legislation come out of this, I'm concerned. I don't know that it's going to make it there if there's money left over from last year that they just didn't account for. Maybe that money disappeared somewhere. Maybe it's stuffed in a closet somewhere at the SBA. I don't exactly know. So the biggest bad that I'm going to point out here is I think there's going to be a gap in time. That's really what I think is going to happen. I hope it doesn't happen, because I love this program. I think this is a great program, and I don't think you should hesitate. Get out there and apply for it right now. Really start to change your future, change your motivation, get yourself into a new situation. Think about it for a moment. If you're an Uber driver and you're a Lyft driver and you have to drive all those hours to make that much money, you're basically getting a lump sum of money just handed to you that you don't have to drive for. So go and change your actions and go and change your future and take that money and invest it in something that could really help you advance. So get out there and change your future. And remember, if you leave a comment on any of my videos, let me know where you are in the PPP process. Draw 1, draw 2, where you applied, if you use net, if you use gross. Let me know where you are in that process. And remember that leaving that comment enrolls you into my next giveaway, because when I hit 20,000 subscribers, I'm giving away $500. I pick a random comment from all of my subscribers and I send away $500. There's no catch. There's no catch. It's one of my milestones. I typically did it at 5,000. I did it at 10,000. I can't wait to do it at 20,000. So I'm excited. If you need further help outside of my free content, you could find me pinned in the top comment for a one-on-one consultation. That's going to do it for today, folks. I wish you all the best, and I will catch you all in the next one. Bye for now.